Oh, hello, my name is Colin Carmichael. I'm the Executive Director of the Huron Chamber of Commerce, and I am here today with Dana Soucie, who's the Executive Director of the Four County Labor Market Planning Board. That's quite a mouthful, Dana. How are you today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So we're going to talk today about the unemployment numbers that came out for July. These come out every month and kind of a month behind. So we're in August talking about the July numbers. And so I just wanted to chat with you, Dana, because I know that, and I know that we've chatted about this in the past, but I thought it'd be useful for our members of the chamber to understand what these numbers really mean, how they differ from the provincial numbers that we hear on the news often, and what this monthly report means on its own versus the kind of the broader context, kind of over the course of the year, the trends, that kind of thing. So why don't we start with that difference then between the local numbers and the provincial numbers? Because if you're watching uh, anything but the most local of our media, you're going to hear that 7.1% number, which was the provincial average or the provincial number, and our local number here in the four county area is quite different. So I don't know if you could just kind of explain that difference and what it means.
Yeah, so typically over the last about 10 years, we have had a lower unemployment rate than the province. And the reason for that is our population, our makeup is a lot different than the province as a whole. It's a good indicator to look how we're comparing against the provincial numbers, but we really have to look at our local numbers versus the provincial in order to identify opportunities where we need to focus, because we are much different.
And so, I mean, I think a lot of people, when they hear unemployment, uh, low is good, high is bad, that's kind of the limit of certainly for me, that was kind of my understanding for many years. So so we have very low unemployment here in Huron, Perth, Bruce Grey, um, but that's maybe not a good thing. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, so um, like I said, there are many different factors and indicators that we have to look at when we're measuring the health of our workforce. Unemployment rate is one of them. So what an unemployment rate does is it tells you how many people are literally looking for work and unemployed, unable to find work. So if the unemployment rate is low, that's a very good thing for job seekers. Job seekers, it means that there aren't a lot of people unemployed and that people are getting to work and that we have a very active, job postings. But when you look at it with other factors, such as population, participation, and job vacancies, on the other side of things, it is not necessarily good for our employers, because there are a lot of jobs going unfilled. So when you have high job vacancy rates combined with low unemployment, it just means you have a very small pool of people to pull from because everyone's already working.
Right. And so one of the things I get asked quite a bit is where did everybody go? Where did those workers go, and are they just sitting at home, or do we have any sense of why our unemployment has gotten so low here in the last couple of years?
Absolutely. Our population is aging out much more rapidly than the rest of Ontario. We have a very high number of experienced workers on the higher end of the age cohorts. Um, Combined with participation rates of our youth is working at about 95% participation. That leaves a very small pool of the younger workers. Um, and so it a lot of it is that it's our aging population. They have not gone anywhere, and no, people are not just sitting around because when you have a 2.8 8%, I believe is what we're at right now, is everyone is working that can work. So those who are not working are those who have barriers, barriers to employment. So different supports are needed to get those, but it's a very small number.
Mhm. And so speaking of the last 2 years, so these monthly numbers are a snapshot in time. What are we looking at in terms of trends in our area over the over the course of a year? What are you seeing in those numbers over time?
Okay. We're watching the participation rates, definitely. What we're seeing in trends is that we have a lot of folks who are retiring at a younger age in our region. It's hard to say what the trends are right now. I can't necessarily speak at the annual trends right at the moment because we're in that process of, reviewing the annual numbers, and they typically don't come out until January.
Mm.
So when we do the local labor market plan, that's when we will get very specific on the trends that are happening. We did have a very big jump in our monthly numbers of people participating. That's a positive sign. So we're going to be monitoring that for sure.
So what would your message then be to employers in Huron County, I guess, who are having trouble finding workers in this labor market, or are looking at labor shortages? Is there anything they can do to help themselves out?
Well, I think it's a combination. It's going to have to be multiple strategies. I know a lot of employers are looking at retention programs, which help keep the workers that you currently have. And when your workers are happy, that leads to better attraction. So, looking outside the box, looking at innovative ways to attract to folks here. I know a lot of employers have had to look at purchasing housing for their workers. There's it's different times. Housing and transportation are issues, and supporting our workers with that can help creating, things that make them happy, providing training for, gives them job satisfaction, retention, those type of things.
Good. So we probably should have done this at the beginning, but maybe if you could, we kind of just jumped right into the meat of this. But maybe just for those who aren't maybe aware of what the labor market planning board does and what you do and what your organization does, and just give a little context around that.
Yeah. So we are one of the 25 local workforce boards in Ontario. Each one of us is assigned a region based on the areas outlined by the ministry. We are funded by the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training and Skills Development, and we have been around for about 30 years. So our role is to gather local data and really get out there and talk to the organizations in our region to find out what those unique challenges are, because as a rural area we're very different than other areas, and every area has their own unique challenges. So that is our role, is to collect the data, analyze it, and work with our partners to find solutions.
Great. And I know that well, you and I have already worked together on some things and are looking forward to projects in the future to help chamber members and the broader business community access labor that's maybe a little bit hidden or tough to find, and there's some work going on there. So I look forward to all of that work to come. And so I just want to thank you for coming on today, just to talk about the labor market. And I'll have you back when there's some other news to share, or perhaps when those national number or annual numbers come out, we can talk about that, or anything else that's relevant to the chamber members. And so great to see you this morning, and we'll talk to you again.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. And I do know that the labor market is very challenging now, and we're always open to answering questions and trying to, work with others to better understand what we need to do.
Great. Thanks, Dana.